My name's Diane Starnes. I was in the United States Navy, enlisted in actually 1991, and didn't get to go. I went into the delayed entry. Was in from January of 92 till May of 93, got a medical discharge. Then I started attending CVCC in 1993, in the fall of that year. From the time I was little, had wanted to fly. My whole entire life I wanted to be a pilot, and I talked to several people, and those people told me the best way to get in is the military. So my plan was to go to college first, and then go into the military as an officer, and of course things happen, and that wasn't the way things happened for me. So I actually went to the Air Force recruiter, and he told me back then, that it was very hard there was so much competition with the men to be pilots that the women, it was very difficult. So he recommended that I look at the Navy. So I went and talked to the Navy recruiter, got on the path to do that, and although I got a medical discharge and got out, but I went in as an electronics technician. After I took the ASVAB, that's what I qualified for, one of the jobs I qualified for, so that was my job in the Navy. I went from living at home and having everybody around me to having no one around me that I knew, being in I'm not going to say a strange place because it was Florida, but people screaming at you left and right in basic. And then my first leg of A school was also in Orlando, so I will say that they loved me, I guess, because I got to Orlando January through August, and then Great Lakes, Illinois from August till the next April. So hottest place in the world, or one of the hottest places in the summer, and one of the coldest places in the winter. So it was definitely an experience, and it's not something that I wouldn't do again. Because it made me figure out who I was. And I don't know that college at that young of a age would have done that. Right out of high school, I don't know that college would have made me look, to see how strong I was and my weaknesses and strengths. I don't know that I would have found those out that way. Unfortunately, I was a bookworm all through high school, so I wasn't, an extremely active person. So going from bookworm and, non-active to being extremely active, pretty much 24/7 for several weeks, I pulled all the tendons and ligaments in my knee. They tried therapy, they tried, medicines and things like that, and it didn't work. So they ended up discharging me because of my knee, because of course when you're going to be, at that time it wasn't necessarily going to be in combat, but you still have to be ready for things like that. So they were, that was a liability to them, I guess. Although it's kind of funny, in my graduating class that year, or for then, I was the only one that requested stateside orders because I was engaged. I was the only one who got non-stateside orders, and my orders were supposed to be to go to a subtender in Guam. I didn't make it there, but that's where I was supposed to be headed. That's just not the way it was for me, or that's not what was meant for me, I guess. So, and to this day, I'm still wanting to be a pilot, but I don't see that happening. Maybe a private pilot. Whenever I was in, and my basic was in Orlando, Florida, at that time we did, we were still separate, men and women, but we did have a brother company. So all of the classes that we took, we took together. And then it wasn't very long. Well, for one, I was one of the last companies to go through basic in Orlando. Then they, shut that down for basic. But it didn't take long after that to where they had the co-ed companies. So that was kind of crazy for me to see, because whenever I went through, if we even thought about turning our heads and looking, we got in trouble. No fraternization and things like that. And then they've got it, to where you had co-ed things after that. So that was kind of interesting to see. As a female, we have had to work incredibly hard to get to where we are, and for sure military wise. So, I would prefer that females keep that up instead of going backwards, just keep trudging forward. As a veteran, we need to continue to, protect our country, and no matter what people throw at us, just keep that going. Veterans Day to me means that, and even if I hadn't served, for me, those who did serve deserve all of our respect. And I literally keep cold chills, and that is no exaggeration. I keep cold chills all day long, because to me, someone who would lay down their life, even be willing to lay down their life for my freedom, that just, to me, that's the ultimate sacrifice that anybody could make. And I am extremely grateful and will forever be grateful. And I will forever celebrate Veterans Day, not for me even, but for those who, gave me the freedom to be sitting here talking to you, and gave me the freedom to, to go to college and to, go out into the workforce. So I'm forever, in their debt.